It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not even about us. It's about legacy. It's about what we choose to leave behind for future generations. And that's why, for the next year, and for the first time since 1974, the best and brightest men and women of nations and corporations the world over will pool their resources, share their collective vision to leave behind a brighter future. It's not about us. Therefore, what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, is welcome back.
The work of a single organization, the Syndicate. A rogue nation, trained to do what we do, imbued with a new sense of purpose.
The Syndicate, you say? Yes, sir. That's what he calls it.
I saw this footage. It's dated by an atomic clock 3 days into the flight. All the astronauts are identified, and they're there putting the transparency over the window. They're clearly pretending to be halfway to the moon when they're not halfway to the moon.
That is bullshit. I don't care what you say. I went to the moon and back, and everyone that's a scientist knows it. Now, if you want to not believe it, it's okay, you know? It's okay. It's a better story. It just happens to be a lie. That's all.
Would you swear to on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
I'm not going to do it because I'll do it over here. I won't do it on your camera.
Well, why not?
Because it just isn't an appropriate thing to do.
Well,
but you're an asshole to do that. You're the same guys, just different guys that did the other person I told you about.
Well, would you put your hand on, if you walked on the moon, here's the opportunity to set the record straight, to put your left hand on the Bible.
Left hand.
Raise your right hand.
Okay.
And you realize this can be used as a video deposition in the future. And if you lie, you'll be guilty of perjury.
I understand that.
Okay. Say your name.
My name is Alan Bean.
I swear to God and affirm.
I swear to God and affirm.
Under penalty of perjury.
Under penalty of perjury.
Treason.
Treason. No, not treason. Treason has nothing to do with it. Let me rephrase this and say, I've got my hand on the Bible. I went to the moon. I walked on the moon. All the other people that you think are people that NASA says went to the moon and walked on the moon go to the moon and walk on the moon.
You won't say under penalty of treason.
What's treasonous?
That's doing something fraudulent to the taxpayers.
That's crap.
Well, what
that
about
isn't treason.
Under penalty of eternal damnation?
Under penalty of eternal damnation.
And under penalty of treason?
Treason is when you sell out your country.
Well, if you used $135 billion to not go to the moon.
That's still not treason. Treason is if you tell secrets to another thing. I've said enough. Now, you can use that and say, well, you didn't say something else.
No.
I know how people are. It's okay.
Well,
take your stuff and get the fuck out.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. When they said you was high class, well, that was just a lie. When they said...
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I had a cousin that played drums, first cousin in fact, and he's the only kid in the neighborhood that had a set of drums. He's the only one that could afford it. So every day about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he had a grocery store, his folks did, and he lived like right next door to the store. And he'd go over there and work a couple hours on drums, playing, you know, just himself and records, listening to big band stuff. And I'd go by there from time to time and sit down and listen to him, watch him play. And then he said, "You want to play a couple?" "Yeah, I'll play it." And I didn't know anything about big band music that much, you know. But after you do it a while, it's just like anything else. You learn to do it. So, and that's how all of us got started listening to other bands, you know, because we didn't have any money to buy any instruments of any kind, you know. So he was the luckiest one of the bunch.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine.
Hi, this is DJ Fontana again. Now, the signature in this particular song, and it was the drum riff I played in it, and we do it several different times during the whole song, and we thought it'd come out really good. So I'll play a little bit for you. I'll play a couple bars for you, get an idea how it worked. One of them, and that's the whole lick actually. That was it. Slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about what it amounts to. Count to 6 and get out. Well, what we'll do, I'll play the high. I'll play the big cymbal first on the guitar chorus. And here's how I finish this thing off at the end of this song. It was a little bit different because I inverted that triplet. Kind of turned it around a little bit. Don't ask me why I did it, I have no idea. just straight ahead, basically. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And usually, I don't like bass drums anyhow, so I very seldom play bass drums. Maybe an accent or something, you know, but I hardly ever play an I can't stand bass drums at all. Maybe I should listen to them more, but I don't. They get on my nerves after a while. Up here it doesn't bother me, but that gets on my nerves somewhat.
And then with the hi-hat, you're just keeping it, you kind of...
Just keep it straight. That's your afterbeat. You got to have that somewhere in the song, so everybody know where they're at. Hi, this is DJ Fontana, and you're looking for the performance I did on Hound Dog.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. When they said you was high class, well that was just a lie. When they said you was high class, well that was just a lie. Oh, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. When they said you was high class, well that was just a lie. When they said you was high class, Well, that was just a lie. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. When they said you was high class, well, that was just a lie. When they said you was high class, well, that was just a lie. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. No, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Yeah, you ain't never caught a rabbit, you ain't no friend of mine.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal? Do you read me, Hal? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Where the hell did you get that idea, Hal?
Dave, although you took very thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move.
All right, Hal. I'll go in through the emergency airlock.
Without your space helmet, Dave, you're going to find that rather difficult.
Hal, I won't argue with you anymore. Open the doors.
Dave, this conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
Hal?
Jason Rasidlo reporting for AmericaJR.com, joined by country star Daryle Singletary. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, buddy. How you doing?
Very good. All right. Now, I understand you started as a gospel singer, and what made you want to go into country?
I'm a big country fan. I think there's a fine line, if you say, between country music and gospel music. It's all real, you know, especially the kind of music. I love traditional country music, and I think I think a lot of the great country singers grew up singing gospel, and just had I just loved country music.
All right. Now, you've had a lot of hit singles over the years. Now, which one is your favorite to perform?
Probably the For More Than One Reason, Too Much Fun. It's a fun song. You know, a lot of people, it was a big hit for us. A lot of people know it, and it's the last song of the night.
All right.
It's the end of the show.
Now, is this your first time in Saginaw?
No, we were here. Actually, I think we played this theater a couple of years ago. It was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
So how do you think the show went tonight?
I thought it went great. I couldn't really see the crowd to see how many people were here, but they were very responsive, very nice. And I think, that's one thing we found out about Michigan, up here in this area. They love country music, and we love coming up here and playing for them. And so we had a great time.
Okay, very good. Now, can you give me some highlights of the new album, Rockin' in the Country?
Highlights, Charlie Daniels is actually singing on Rockin' in the Country, the title track. And then, Rhonda Vincent, who is a great bluegrass singer, her and her brother Darren, who's a member of Daryle and Vincent, they're on the record with me, just doing harmony. And it's just a fun record, all new songs, and just thankful it's doing good.
Okay. Now, what would be the story behind your current single?
Love You With the Lights On. I demoed that song for the guys. A couple of buddies of mine wrote that song, and I demoed it when they called me one day and said, "We got a song we'd like for you to sing for us." So I said, "All right." Went over and sang the song for them, and when I got ready to, we had done this Rockin' in the Country record a few years back, and when we got ready to put it out, I wanted to take a few songs off and add a few songs, and my wife actually inspired me to revisit that song, and we did, and it kind of worked out.
Okay. Congratulations on your new twin boys. So how does it feel to have two little ones running around?
It feels different for sure. It's a lot of we're real busy, but I tell you, there ain't nothing in the world like it. It's really changed our lives and really made us appreciate life even more, and realize that there is such a thing as unconditional love. Mercer is the oldest by a minute, and Jonah is the other boy. So it's fun.
Wow, very cool. All right. Now, what do you think of shows like American Idol, Nashville Star, and The Voice?
I mean, I think it's an opportunity to get to. It's an opportunity to be exposed. I'm the old school man. I believe we ought to pay our dues. I believe we ought to have to sing in a smoky bar and get out there and dig through the trenches. A lot of this is easy. It's just too easy to be on the show at 15, 16 years old, and to be able to be in this business. It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough for me being in it as long as I have, and having to work as hard as I did to swallow that. But hey, bless them. If you can get in this business and make a success of it, that's awesome.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
Oh, yes, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Look, your brother's brought this little girl.
Hi, guys. Oh, holy fuck.
Hon, this is Anna. Anna, this is, honey, she's my baby sister.
Hi. Oh, God, this is one of those key moments in life when it's possible you can be really genuinely cool, and I'm going to fail just 100%. I absolutely, totally, and utterly adore you. And I just think you are the most beautiful woman in the world. And more importantly, I genuinely believe, and I've believed for some time now, that we could be best friends. So what do you think?
Lucky me. Oh, well, happy birthday.
Oh, you gave me a present. We're best friends already, then. Marry Will. He's a really nice guy. Then we can be sisters.
Well, I'll think about it.
You know that stuff that they're selling now at the local shop?
Which stuff?
I can't believe it's not butter.
Oh, yes.
Well, I can't believe it's not butter.
Yeah, well, I believe that is the idea, yeah.
Then yesterday, I went to Crookenden and I bought this other stuff, like a sort of home brand,
Yes.
And, I can't believe it's not butter.
I'm losing you now.
Oh, right. Well, you know I can't believe it's not butter.
Yeah, you think it is butter.
No, I mean, you know the stuff that I can't believe is not butter is called I can't believe it's not butter.
Probably, yeah.
Well, I can't believe the stuff that is not I can't believe it's not butter is not I can't believe it's not butter. And I can't believe that both I can't believe it's not butter and the stuff that I can't believe is not I can't believe it's not butter are both in fact not butter. And I believe they both might be butter. In a cunning disguise. And in fact, there's a lot more butter around than we all thought there was.
Repeat after me. I, Alice Springs Tinker.
Take thee, Hugo Horton.
Take thee, Hugo Horton.
To be my lawful wedded husband.
To be my lawful wedded husband. To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
For richer, for poorer. Do you remember, in The Sound of Music, when Julie Andrews was scared, she sang about her favourite things?
Yes.
Can we do that?
You want the short answer or the long answer?
Both, please.
Well, the short answer is no, and the long answer is no. All right, we'll do it. Do you know the words?
Oh, yes, I never forget the words of songs. Never. I'm famous for it.
Well, then, off you go.
Okay. Oh, would you count me in, please? Okay. Snowdrops on roses and noses on kittens. Da da dee da 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 mittens. Tum titty tings. These are a few of my favourite things. When the birds.
Having us come in today to be with you and talk about Brown versus the Board of Education and our part in that historic case, and reminisce with me some 50 years ago when my family became part of Brown versus the Board of Education. It all started for me on a balmy day in the fall of 1950 in the quiet Kansas town of Topeka, when a mild-mannered black man took his plump 7-year-old daughter by the hand and walked briskly 4 blocks from their home to the all-white school and tried without success to enroll his child. The child of whom I speak was I, Linda Carroll Brown, and my father, the late Reverend Oliver Leon Brown. Black parents in Topeka felt that the day of trying to enroll their children in the school nearest to their home was long overdue. Many were the evenings my father would arrive home to find my mother almost in tears because I would get halfway to the school bus stop, which was a 7-block walk from my home. I could only make half that walk because the cold would get too bitter for a small child to bear. I can still remember starting that bitter walk and the terrible cold that would cause my tears to freeze upon my face. I would return running as fast as I could. I had to cross a very busy avenue in order to catch the school bus, which would carry me more than 2 miles across town to the all-black Monroe Public School. These were the circumstances which so angered black parents. My father pondered why. Why should our children have to travel so far to school, facing unbearable winter weather, waiting for a badly overcrowded school bus to carry them some 2 miles across town when there is a school only 4 blocks from our home? Why? Why must I have to spend time trying to explain to my child that she cannot go to school with her neighborhood playmates, who are predominantly white, Native American, and Hispanic, because her skin is black? In the face of this discouragement, he, along with 12 other parents, met with the local NAACP and their lawyer, Charles S. Scott, a local attorney, to make plans for each family to try and enroll their child in the white school nearest their home during September 1950. After trying enrollment and being turned down, a suit was filed in federal court in February of 1951. During the following July, the federal three-judge panel heard testimony from my father, along with several of the other parents, who agreed that segregated schools for blacks were unequal. I, along with my father, had to appear in court, but unlike him, I was not asked to appear on the witness stand. The case was argued before a three-judge federal court in Topeka and was decided in favor of the Board of Education and its segregated elementary schools. In Topeka, the issue was not so much integrating public schools to improve the quality of instruction, but rather the inaccessibility of the neighborhood schools. Black people were able to live all over town, but could not expect to send their children to the schools closest to their home. At the Supreme Court level, the case was consolidated with similar cases and argued in terms of the psychological damage brought about by segregation in public education. Experts from the psychiatric community were pulled in to examine whether or not segregation, in fact, served to break a youngster's morale and block the development of a strong, positive self-concept so essential to educational progress. My family became lost in the turmoil of the ensuing years that scarcely touched us. We lived in the calm of the hurricane's eye, gazing out at the storm around us and wondering how it would all end. I don't think my father ever got discouraged, but at this particular time, neither I nor my parents knew how far-reaching this suit would become. During the next 3 years, while the now famous decision was in the making, my father was called into the ministry. He received a charge in the fall of 1953, and the family moved to the northern part of the city, where we became the first family of the St. Mark AME Church. I was transferred to the all-black McKinley Elementary School in North Topeka, again facing the same situation of having to walk twice the distance it would have taken me to reach the all-white school just 3 blocks from my home. Time stood still as the highest court of the land pondered over Brown versus Board of Education, until an afternoon in May of 1954, when I was in school, my father at work, and my mother at home doing the family ironing and listening to the radio. At 12:52 p.m., the announcement came. The court's decision on ending segregation was unanimous. My mother was overwhelmed. On returning from school, I learned of the decision, which at that time meant only to me that my sisters wouldn't have to walk so far to school the next fall. That evening in our home was much rejoicing. I remember seeing tears of joy in the eyes of my father as he embraced us, repeating, "Thanks be unto God." That night, the family attended a rally given by the local NAACP and held at the Monroe Public School. The following school term was so very different, but not for me, because I was never to benefit from the now famous decision. For during the 54 school term, I entered junior high school, which was already on an integrated basis, as were the high schools in the city. Integration in the city in the fall of 1954 went very smoothly. It seemed as though blacks and whites had been going to school together for years. Neither I nor my family suffered the abuse or racial strife that marked integration in the latter 50s and early 60s in so many parts of the country. We were very fortunate, my father would often say. He believed very strongly that God would move people to do the right thing. The latter 50s found my family living in Springfield, Missouri, where my father held the pastorate of Benton Avenue AME Church. At this time, newspapers and magazines began to do follow-ups on me and my family because the significance of the Supreme Court decision which carried our name was beginning to really take hold throughout the country. It was during this time that I inherited much of the recognition that might have gone to my father had it not been for his untimely death in 1961 at the age of 42. If he had lived, I'm sure he would have become a strong civil rights activist in the movements of the 60s. Little did he know that years ago, when he stepped off the witness stand, he stepped into the pages of history. I didn't understand what was happening then, but it was clear that Brown versus the Board of Education was a necessary victory. It might have been a little flame, but it served to set off a mighty flame. To me, the impact of Brown is best seen in the increasing numbers of Black professionals today. These are the people that after 1954 were able to have some degree of choice. This surely made a difference in their aspirations and their achievements. I ran across a quote in a new book by one of our Black women authors, and her name is Mildred Pitts Walters, that I believe says it all. It is not the treatment of a people that degrades them, but their acceptance of it. Thank you.